Well, I think that our structures in this province, wall to wall, VD to VD, from the north of KZN all the way to the south, which is where we are, from the west to the east, the ANC's presence is being felt without a doubt. Our campaign is visible. We probably are the only party that is visible on the ground. I don't know how your viewers will reflect on that. So our campaign is strong. The coming in of the National Executive Committee and the massive army of the NEC, joined by the leadership of the various leagues and other constitutional organs of the ANC, the coming in of our alliance partners to KZN is to fortify and strengthen the work that is already being done by our structures in the province.
The ANC, some analysts would say that it is facing a real prospect of actually losing this province of KwaZulu-Natal. If you look at the performance of the party, I mean, you look at the emergence of Umkhonto weSizwe, you look at the performance of Inkatha Freedom Party in some of the recent by-elections that have been held in the province, not painting a good picture for the party. Your response to that?
Well, the ANC has faced a number of factions and splinter groups in the past, since its formation in 1912. You could go to the early 50s, the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. I don't know where the PSC is today, but, and of course, we pay homage to that legacy because it was a legacy of genuine struggle. But the point that I'm driving at is that you've had a number of splinter groups leaving the ANC and coming back and dissipating, because outside of the ANC it's very difficult to survive. The ANC is a massive army, and you can see that in our campaign. So I want to say that we are aiming for an outright majority in KZN, and we are working hard on that. Our message is positive. Our message is not criticizing other parties. Our message is about connecting with the people of South Africa and responding to some of the stubborn challenges related to poverty, inequality and unemployment, as well as gender-based violence. And it's about giving hope by outlining what is contained in our manifesto, the 6 priorities in our manifesto, and as to what we're going to do to address, for example, the jobs plan, which is priority number 1 in our manifesto. So our message is positive, and we're not competing with anyone. I think we probably are the only show in town.
Ms. Bhengu, the issue that I suppose many people that you have been interacting with surely has to do with the high unemployment rate that faces a lot of South Africans as we speak. The governing party has been in power for the past 30 years. How do you then think that you will be able to convince the people of South Africa to again give you a renewed mandate, given the fact that we have the highest, we are the highest unequal society in the world, we have some of the highest unemployment rates in the world as well. How do you reconcile the two?
Well, I think it's a very fair question. It's a strong question that we get confronted with regularly, as it should. But look at the past 30 years and look at the past 300 years of colonial rule and how it disenfranchised South Africans, black South Africans in particular, in terms of access to employment opportunities, educational opportunities. This idea that within 30 years every single historical problem should have been resolved is something that we need to have a bit of a debate about. But having said that, our people expect more from the ANC because they trust the ANC, and we aim to do much more. And that is why our campaign slogan says, let's do more together and vote ANC, because we must complete the historical task that was entrusted to us by the people of South Africa in 1994, and we're committed to doing so. Of course, we also have enjoyed the benefit of being the only party with the experience of governing a country, which is a tough experience that you have to acquire over time. We bring that experience. We don't speak about things that we have not tested ourselves, whether it's plans, whether it's policies, whether it's programs. And of course, in relation to the jobs plan, our first priority in the manifesto, it says, let's put South Africa to work. And we highlight the number of interventions that we're going to be putting out, building on what's already been done by the incumbent administration, the 6th administration. And we talk about, for example, the stimulus package. We talk up there about expanding public sector-led employment interventions, your EPWPs, whose tenure of about 30 years has just been celebrated about 2 weeks ago. So enabling government to also create or stimulate a job creation environment, but a strong social compact with the private sector, ensuring that the private sector is made accountable to help create jobs, because it cannot be done by government alone.
Before we let you go, Ms. Mahlengi, the disciplinary hearing that was meant to take place tomorrow at Luthuli House, which the party has recommended that it be postponed after the elections. That particular decision, if you listen to what the former president, that's Mr. Thabo Mbeki, said during his campaign trail, saying that it's correct for the party to do it before the elections and not be worried about the issue of losing potential voters, and now the SG of the party deciding that perhaps it's not such a wise move to hold it before the elections.
Okay, well, I do need to correct. It's not the decision of the SG. The SG works as part of a collective. Sure. It's a decision of the national officials who are entrusted with the responsibility.
He communicated the decision, sorry.
He communicated the decision. And of course, a number of considerations were made, including the security assessment report that we received, and therefore that call had to be made. Comrade Mbeki is right. There is nothing that stops the ANC from concluding this matter. But at the same time, we have to take into account security considerations for the hearing that was meant to take place on Tuesday.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That is the national spokesperson of the ANC, Ms. Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, engaging us here on a number of issues, particularly about the deployment of ANC NEC members in the province of KwaZulu-Natal as the party gears up for the May